Meet Maya. She's 16, full of life, curiosity, and dreams that stretch far beyond the walls of her high school. From the moment she wakes up each morning, she carries a quiet pride. Pride in who she is, pride in her heritage, and pride in her hair. Her hair is not just strands of curls. It's thick, textured, and alive with personality. It's a crown she wears naturally, a symbol of strength passed down through generations of strong women in her family. For Maya, her hair is beauty, identity, and self-expression all at once. Every morning, she carefully tends to it, twisting, braiding, and styling it with patience and love. Each curl is treated with respect, each coil cherished. She knows her hair is unique, and in a world that often celebrates conformity over authenticity, that uniqueness is her power. When she looks in the mirror, she sees more than just herself. She sees the legacy of those who came before her, and the confidence to embrace her own story. But school, for all its potential for learning and laughter, is not always kind. Hallways crowded with students can feel like a maze of judgment, whispers, and laughter that isn't meant for her. Some glance at her with admiration, but others, those who are quick to mock what they do not understand, are relentless. It starts with small things, a glance, a whisper, a snicker. It grows slowly and deliberately into a storm of teasing that targets what she loves most about herself. Every comment, every snide remark about her hair makes her pause. It makes her question. She wonders if being herself is worth the pain, if the curls she treasures are too different, too noticeable, too much for those around her. Yet deep down, a part of her refuses to give in. She knows that hiding who she is would only silence her, dim her light, and erase the vibrant energy that makes her who she is. Maya's school life is a constant balancing act. She navigates classrooms filled with lessons, hallways filled with students, and cafeterias buzzing with conversation. She carries books, ideas, and hopes alongside the invisible weight of judgment. She watches other students fit in with ease, feeling the subtle pang of isolation. Still, she finds solace in the small corners of her day, quiet moments in the library, laughter with her closest friends, the satisfaction of completing an art project, or simply the joy of hearing her own music in her headphones as she walks down the hall. There are teachers who notice her, mentors who recognize her potential, and friends who remind her of her worth. Yet the bullying, subtle or overt, lingers like a shadow, challenging her sense of self and testing her courage. Despite it all, Maya remains resilient. Each day is a battle between self-doubt and self-pride, between wanting to blend in and choosing to stand out. At home, the story is different. Her family celebrates her curls, her skin, her laughter. They tell her stories of strong women, of ancestors who faced adversity with grace and strength. She is reminded daily that beauty is not defined by the opinions of others, but by the love and acceptance she gives herself. Each encouraging word, each hug, each proud glance in her direction reinforces the message. Her hair is not a flaw. It is her crown. As Maya moves through the hallways, brushes past gossiping students, and takes her seat in classrooms, she carries this quiet confidence, even if it flickers under the weight of others' cruelty. She dreams of moments when she will no longer be defined by the judgment of her peers, moments when her individuality will shine, unshaken by ridicule or comparison. She dreams of owning her space, of walking through life without apology, of showing the world that being different is not just okay, it is extraordinary. Maya's story begins here, in a world that challenges her to embrace herself while testing her strength. Her journey is one of courage, self-discovery, and the quiet rebellion of simply being who she is. The hallways, the whispers, the stares, they are just the beginning. What comes next will define her, not by the opinions of others, but by the power and pride she holds within herself. School, for Maya, is both a place of learning and a battlefield. The hallways, bright and crowded, pulse with the chatter and laughter of students who navigate cliques and alliances with practiced ease. But for Maya, the very thing she loves about herself, her thick, natural curls, has become a target. It starts small. A glance here, a whisper there. Students point at her hair, laughing behind their hands. "Look at that hair," someone mutters in passing. "Why does it even do that?" Another adds, "It's so different." To anyone else, these might seem like harmless remarks, but to Maya, they sting sharply. Every word, every laugh, feels like a spotlight on her difference. A reminder that she doesn't quite fit in. Sometimes, it's physical. One day, while she's walking to her locker, a classmate flicks a strand of her hair, laughing as if it were a joke. "Whoa, you could hide pencils in there," the girl says, cackling. Maya freezes for a moment, unsure whether to confront them or keep walking. She chooses the latter, clutching her books tightly to her chest, trying not to let the embarrassment show. But inside, her chest tightens, her stomach knots, and a flood of emotions washes over her. Anger, shame, sadness. Social media becomes another battlefield. She scrolls through her feed one evening to see her hair mocked in posts by classmates. Memes, pictures, and snide captions make her heart ache. Every notification feels like a reminder that the bullying isn't confined to the hallways. It follows her everywhere. Maya starts to wonder if she will ever be able to walk through her school, or even exist online, without the constant weight of judgment pressing down on her. Yet it's not all cruel. Maya has friends, few but loyal. Zoe, her best friend since childhood, always stands by her side. "Ignore them," Zoe says one day in the cafeteria, her voice firm. "They're just jealous because they don't have the confidence to be themselves." Her words comfort Maya, but only partially. Deep down, the whispers echo, persistent and insidious. Teachers notice too. Some approach gently, offering guidance and reassurance. Mr. Jenkins, her art teacher, once pulled her aside after class. "You're talented," he said quietly. "Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are." His encouragement is a balm to her spirit, yet the hallways still feel like a gauntlet. Each day, Maya balances between the pride she feels for her identity and the subtle, relentless pressure to conform. There are moments when she tries to ignore the teasing, focusing instead on her studies, her art, and the things that bring her joy. She sketches in the margins of her notebook, capturing images of strong, confident girls who embrace themselves fully. She dreams of a day when her hair will no longer be a reason for ridicule, but a symbol of admiration. Even at home, Maya reflects on the day's events. She talks with her family about the incidents, seeking advice and comfort. Her mother, who has always championed natural beauty, reminds her that hair is a crown, and that true confidence comes from embracing oneself. These conversations strengthen Maya's resolve, planting the seeds of resilience that will later bloom into courage. And so, Maya continues through each school day, navigating hallways, classrooms, and social spaces with a mix of caution and quiet defiance. Each laugh at her hair, each whispered comment, becomes a challenge she must meet, with inner strength. While the bullying threatens to erode her confidence, it also sets the stage for a transformation, a journey that will test her, shape her, and ultimately allow her to shine in ways she never imagined. For now, Maya endures, holding on to the hope that one day, the very thing that others mock will become the source of her greatest triumph. At home, Maya often finds herself in quiet moments of reflection. Her room is her sanctuary, filled with books, art supplies, and photos of women who inspire her. Yet even in this safe space, her mind cannot fully escape the echoes of the school day. Every whispered comment, every laugh at her hair, lingers like a shadow in the back of her thoughts. She sits on the edge of her bed, running her fingers through her curls, trying to soothe the tension that has built up over countless hallways, classrooms, and lunch periods. Is it really that bad? She whispers to herself, staring into the mirror. The reflection staring back seems unsure, hesitant, questioning the worth she's always believed she carried. For the first time in months, Maya contemplates changing herself. Not for fashion, not for fun, but simply to avoid the relentless teasing. Straightening her hair, braiding it tightly, or even hiding it under a hat seems like a tempting escape. But the thought is heavy, and a part of her rebels immediately. She remembers her mother's words, spoken countless times with pride and love. Your hair is your crown. Never let anyone make you think it's anything less. These words resonate in her chest, reminding her that every curl represents more than appearance. It's heritage, identity, and history. To change it would feel like erasing a part of herself. Yet, the pressure to conform is real, whispering every day in the voices of her peers, and sometimes even in the silence of her own doubts. Maya's internal struggle grows as the days pass. She begins noticing subtle changes in herself, the way she walks down hallways, how often she glances around before smiling, the careful avoidance of certain classrooms or groups. Every decision is weighed against a fear of ridicule. She practices concealing her curls beneath scarves or ponytails, convincing herself it is just temporary. But each attempt leaves a pit of discomfort, a sense that she is hiding something essential, something beautiful. Art becomes her escape, her voice when words fail. She sketches figures with curls that defy gravity, women and girls standing tall and proud, radiating confidence she wishes she could claim for herself. She draws imagined versions of herself, Maya with hair that refuses to bend to others' opinions, Maya smiling freely in the face of mockery, Maya walking confidently down the halls while the world watches in admiration. Each sketch is a small rebellion, a whisper of self-affirmation. Even in moments of joy, laughing with Zoe, receiving praise from her teachers, or achieving something meaningful in school, Maya feels the tug of her inner conflict. Pride and insecurity pull her in opposite directions. Her confidence feels fragile, built on small victories and threatened by every mocking glance or whispered insult. She knows that letting others dictate her self-worth would be the easiest path, but it is also one she refuses to follow entirely. At night, before sleep, Maya reflects on her day. She reviews every moment, the kindness of her friends, the encouragement of mentors, the small instances when she stood her ground. She acknowledges the pain, but also recognizes the strength she has displayed simply by enduring. Slowly, a quiet determination begins to take root. She begins to understand that self-acceptance is not a single moment of bravery, but a continuous choice, a decision she must make daily to honor herself. By confronting her doubts and fears, Maya begins a subtle transformation. She does not yet feel fully free from the pressure of her peers, nor does she always act with complete confidence. But the internal struggle is teaching her resilience, patience, and the importance of self-love. Each challenge, each pang of insecurity, becomes a stepping stone toward the day when she will no longer question her worth, but fully embrace it. The road ahead is uncertain, but Maya senses a shift. Somewhere deep inside, beneath the layers of doubt and worry, her pride and courage are growing, preparing her for a moment when she will stand tall, unapologetic and proud. The internal struggle is far from over, but for the first time, Maya feels the faint glow of hope. Hope that she will one day rise above the whispers, the mockery and the judgment, and shine as her true self. One afternoon, Maya sat on her bed, scrolling aimlessly through her phone, feeling the weight of the week pressing down on her. The whispers in the hallways, the laughter at her hair, the constant pressure to fit in, it all crowded her thoughts. She wanted a distraction, something to take her mind off the constant judgments she faced at school. But instead of scrolling through memes or silly videos, she stumbled upon a clip that would change the way she viewed herself forever. On the screen was a young woman standing in front of a crowded auditorium, wearing her hair exactly as it grew, thick, curly, unapologetically natural. She smiled confidently at the camera, her voice steady and bright. "This is me," she said. "I am proud of who I am. My hair, my skin, my everything. It is not a problem to fix. It is a crown to wear." Maya felt a rush of emotions she hadn't anticipated. At first, it was disbelief. She watched, mesmerized, as the young woman walked confidently through her school, receiving admiration, not mockery, for embracing her natural hair. Students cheered, friends laughed with joy, and even strangers stopped to compliment her courage. Maya had never seen anything like it. For the first time, she realized that the world could respond differently, that confidence could turn what some called different into something remarkable, something inspiring. Her heart began to race, a mixture of hope and excitement stirring inside her. Could she really do the same? Could she walk through her own school with that kind of pride, without fear of ridicule or judgment? The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. Maya thought about all the days she had spent hiding under scarves, trying to straighten or flatten her curls, avoiding attention, hoping to be invisible. She realized painfully that hiding had never helped her feel stronger. It had only made the teasing louder in her mind, the whispers echoing in her thoughts. She paused the video and stared at her reflection in the phone screen. The woman on the screen had not changed her hair, not tried to fit in, not apologized for her identity. She had owned it, and in doing so, she had transformed how others saw her, and more importantly, how she saw herself. Maya's chest felt tight, but it wasn't from fear. It was from excitement, from a spark that had long been dormant. Something inside her shifted. She understood that courage didn't mean the absence of fear. It meant acting despite it. Maya sat quietly for a long time, replaying the video over and over. She imagined herself walking through her hallways, head held high, curls bouncing freely, unashamed and proud. She envisioned herself smiling back at those who once mocked her, not with anger, but with calm confidence. It was a vision she had never dared to allow herself before, yet now it felt tangible, possible. That night, she spoke to her mother, who had always encouraged her to embrace her natural beauty. "Mom, Maya said softly. I think I'm ready. I don't want to hide anymore. I want to be proud of who I am, all the way. Her mother smiled, her eyes shining with pride. That's my girl, she said. Remember, courage comes from being yourself, not from trying to please others. You were born to shine, Maya. Never forget that. As Maya lay in bed that night, a new determination coursed through her. She understood now that her hair was more than just curls. It was a crown, a statement, a piece of herself that she would no longer hide. She could feel the first flickers of confidence, the beginnings of self-love that had been buried under doubt and ridicule for so long. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would still be whispers, challenges, and moments of doubt. But Maya knew that she had found her inspiration, a model to guide her, and most importantly, the courage within herself to embrace who she truly was. For the first time in a long time, she felt ready to face the world head-on, proud of every curl, every coil, every strand of hair that made her, unapologetically, Maya. And in that moment, a quiet but powerful truth settled in her heart. Her difference was not a weakness, it was her greatest strength. With prom approaching, Maya felt a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. It wasn't just another school event. It was a stage, a moment where everyone's eyes would be on her, a day she could choose to shine or to hide. And this time, she had made a decision. She would not hide. She would embrace herself fully, from the top of her thick, natural curls to the tip of her shoes. At home, the preparations began. Her room transformed into a small studio of creativity. Dresses were spread across her bed, shoes lined up neatly, and mirrors reflected her thoughtful gaze as she considered every detail. Maya wasn't just preparing for prom. She was preparing for a declaration of self-love and confidence. Every accessory, every hairstyle choice was a statement of who she truly was. She imagined walking into the gymnasium, her hair bouncing naturally, her dress radiant, and the room turning to admire, not mock. Her mother and sister helped her practice hairstyles, experimenting with twists, braids, and curls. They laughed together, trying different looks, offering encouragement and reassurance. "This one shows off your curls perfectly," her sister said, brushing a strand gently. "You look amazing." Her mother nodded, adding, "Remember, it's your crown." "Wear it proudly," Maya smiled, feeling a warmth that no hallway whispers could take away. Every curl felt alive with possibility, every strand a symbol of resilience and pride. But even as she prepared, Maya felt nervousness creeping in. She thought about the classmates who had teased her, the whispers she would inevitably hear, the stares that might follow. What if they laughed? What if she made a mistake? What if she felt exposed? These thoughts swirled in her mind, threatening to dull the excitement she had been building for weeks. Still, she returned to the vision that had inspired her. The young woman in the video who had owned her identity fearlessly. Maya reminded herself that courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was acting in spite of it. Every dress she tried, every pair of shoes she considered, every hairstyle she practiced became a small act of bravery. Slowly, the nervousness transformed into determination, the uncertainty into excitement. She was not going to let fear dictate her moment. As prom night drew closer, Maya also focused on her mindset. She spent evenings alone in her room, standing in front of the mirror, practicing her walk and her smile. She imagined herself receiving compliments, greeting friends, and even facing those who had once mocked her with grace. Each rehearsal, each visualization, strengthened her confidence. making her more certain that she could own the night on her terms. Her friends played a huge part in her preparation. Zoe was by her side constantly, offering words of encouragement and practical help. They shared stories, tried on accessories together, and reminded Maya that she was not alone. Even a few teachers who had seen her talent and dedication offered support, telling her how proud they were of her courage and her individuality. Slowly, the feeling of isolation she had carried through so many school days began to melt away, replaced by a sense of solidarity and empowerment. The final touches came on the day of prom. Maya chose a dress that highlighted her natural beauty without hiding it. She let her curls fall freely, styled with care, but untouched by the desire to conform. She looked in the mirror and saw herself not as a girl who had endured teasing and judgment, but as a young woman ready to claim her moment, ready to celebrate her uniqueness, ready to show the world that difference could be beautiful. As she took a deep breath and prepared to step out the door, Maya felt a wave of excitement and pride. Prom night was not just about the dance, the crown, or the celebration. It was about embracing herself fully, unafraid, unapologetic, and ready to shine. Every step she took, every smile she shared, would be a victory over fear and doubt, a declaration that she was proud of who she was. And for Maya, that was the most beautiful preparation of all. Prom night had arrived, and with it, a mixture of excitement and nerves. Maya's heart raced as she stepped into the gymnasium, the soft glow of lights reflecting off the glittering decorations. Music filled the room, laughter echoed, and the chatter of students created a vibrant, electric energy. For the first time in a long while, Maya felt fully present, not hiding, not shrinking, not apologizing for who she was. She was here to celebrate herself. But old fears are stubborn. As she made her way through the crowd, she noticed some familiar faces. A few of the classmates who had teased her throughout the year were there, their eyes following her. Maya felt a flicker of unease. The whispers seemed louder in her mind, the mocking laughs more immediate. The fear of judgment, which she had worked so hard to overcome, threatened to surface. She paused, taking a deep breath, reminding herself of the promise she had made to honor her identity and her curls. One of the girls who had teased her in the past approached, her tone dripping with false sweetness. "Wow, Maya. You actually look okay," she said, smirking. Others nearby giggled quietly. It was meant to sting, to undermine Maya's confidence at the moment she was meant to shine. She could feel her stomach twist, the old anxiety trying to take hold. But Maya had spent weeks preparing for this very night, practicing her walk, her smile, and most importantly, her mindset. She lifted her chin, straightened her posture, and smiled. Not nervously, not timidly, but fully and confidently. "Thank you," she said, her voice calm, even warm. There was no apology, no self-deprecation. The words, though simple, carried a strength that silenced the mocking undertones. The girl's smirk faltered slightly, unsure how to respond to such composed confidence. Around them, other students began to notice, some even glancing in admiration at the poise Maya displayed. Maya walked past them, each step steady, each movement purposeful. Her curls bounced naturally, a crown she wore with pride, a symbol of resilience and authenticity. She had faced whispers, laughter, and ridicule all year, and now, under the soft glow of prom lights, she was finally reclaiming her space. The confrontation, intended to diminish her, only highlighted her strength. Each step was a quiet triumph over the fear that had once held her back. As she mingled with friends, laughed at shared jokes, and danced in moments of joy, Maya noticed a subtle shift in the room's energy. Classmates who had mocked her now watched in admiration. Teachers, friends, and even strangers approached, offering compliments on her hair, her dress, and the radiant confidence she exuded. What had once been a source of ridicule was now a source of awe. Maya realized that the perception of others could be transformed, not by changing herself, but by embracing herself fully. Even during this night of celebration, Maya reflected on her journey. The teasing, the social media posts, the whispered comments, they had tested her, pushed her to moments of doubt, and forced her to confront her insecurities. But they had also prepared her for this moment, shaping her resilience, her courage, and her understanding of self-worth. She had endured, she had persevered, and now she was unshakable. By the time the first awards and recognitions were announced, Maya's confidence had settled into a quiet, glowing certainty. She had faced the final confrontation, not with anger, but with grace. She had transformed the energy meant to belittle her into a platform to showcase her strength. And in doing so, she became a living example of what it meant to embrace one's identity, to walk boldly through life, and to let the world see the brilliance that comes from authenticity. Tonight, Maya had conquered more than prom. She had conquered fear, doubt, and the shadow of judgment. And she knew that whatever came next, she would never again let anyone dim the light that shone so brightly from within her. The gymnasium was alive with excitement, glittering lights bouncing off the walls and music filling every corner. Students laughed, danced, and posed for photos, the night carrying the weight of anticipation, celebration, and memories waiting to be made. For Maya, however, prom night was more than just a dance. It was the culmination of a journey, a night where she could finally step into the spotlight she had long deserved. As she entered the room, all eyes inevitably turned toward her. Her curls framed her face like a crown, styled with care but untouched by the need to conform. Her dress shimmered in the soft glow of the lights, perfectly complementing her radiant confidence. For a moment, time seemed to pause, the chatter and laughter fading into the background. Maya felt the collective gaze of the room, but unlike in the hallways she had endured all year, this attention was not meant to belittle or mock. It was curiosity, admiration, and even awe. Her heart raced, a mixture of exhilaration and nervousness, but she held her head high, walking with a grace she had been cultivating for weeks. Every step was deliberate, every movement a statement. She was proud, she was confident, and she was unapologetically herself. The journey that had once filled her with fear and doubt had prepared her for this night, and now she was ready to own it fully. Friends greeted her warmly, their smiles genuine and encouraging. Zoe beamed at her, whispering, "You look amazing. This is your night." Teachers nodded in approval, impressed not only by her beauty, but by the poise and maturity she now carried. Even students who had previously mocked her paused, perhaps unsure of how to respond to the confident young woman standing before them. Maya didn't mind their surprise. She had long ceased needing approval from those who had doubted her. When the announcement for prom queen nominations was made, Maya's pulse quickened. She had not sought the title, nor had she expected it. But the recognition was more than a crown. It was validation of her journey, proof that authenticity, courage, and self-love could triumph over years of doubt and ridicule. As names were called, applause and excitement rippled through the room. And then, finally, it happened. Her name. "Maya Johnson," the announcer called, the words echoing across the gymnasium. Maya felt her chest tighten with joy and disbelief. Applause erupted, friends cheering, and even some classmates who had once teased her clapped in admiration. She stepped forward, heart pounding, feeling the weight of the crown as it was placed gently on her head. It wasn't just a prom queen crown. It was a symbol of resilience, courage, and self-acceptance. As she looked around the room, Maya realized the journey she had undertaken was more significant than any title. She had faced ridicule, mockery, and self-doubt, yet she had arrived here stronger, more confident, and proud of who she truly was. The gymnasium, once a place that could have been a stage for humiliation, had transformed into a space where she was celebrated for her individuality, her beauty, and her courage. Dancing with friends, laughing freely, and receiving heartfelt compliments, Maya felt a sense of fulfillment unlike anything she had experienced before. She knew this moment would remain etched in her memory, not just for the crown or the applause, but for the journey that had brought her here. Every step she had taken, every struggle she had endured, had led to this triumph, a night where authenticity was celebrated and fear was conquered. Prom night for Maya was not just a dance, it was a declaration that she would no longer shrink to fit expectations, that she would no longer let ridicule or judgment define her. She was Maya, proud, confident, and radiant, and the world had no choice but to see it. And in that moment, crowned as prom queen, Maya understood something profound. She had always been enough. Every curl, every strand of hair, every ounce of her being was worthy of love, respect, and admiration. Tonight, she simply let the world see what she had always known in her heart. As the music played and the students danced around her, Maya felt a sense of calm and fulfillment she had never experienced before. Prom had been more than she had imagined. It wasn't just the glittering lights, the sparkling dresses, or even the applause of her peers. It was the culmination of a journey, one that had begun with whispers in the hallways and ended with a declaration of self-love and pride. For so long, Maya had measured herself through the eyes of others, letting their judgments and teasing shape her self-worth. But tonight, she realized how far she had come. She had faced ridicule, bullying, and insecurity, and she had not only survived, she had thrived. Each challenge had strengthened her resolve, each moment of doubt had taught her resilience, and each act of self-reflection had brought her closer to embracing her true identity. Maya looked around the room at her classmates. Some were still whispering, some were smiling, some were congratulating her, and some were perhaps quietly reflecting on their own behavior. She understood that their reactions no longer mattered. She no longer needed their validation to feel beautiful, worthy, or confident. Tonight, she was proof that embracing oneself authentically could command respect, admiration, and even inspiration from others. Her friends surrounded her, celebrating with genuine joy. Zoe hugged her tightly, whispering, "I'm so proud of you, Maya. You did it." The words resonated deeply, echoing in Maya's heart as she looked at the people who had supported her, encouraged her, and reminded her of her strength. They had been her anchors through the storm, helping her see the beauty that existed in her own reflection. Maya's parents had also come to the gymnasium, witnessing their daughter shine in a way they had always hoped she would. Their eyes glistened with pride as they watched her smile freely, dance confidently, and accept the crown of prom queen with poise and humility. They knew this moment was about far more than a title. It was about the triumph of courage over fear, self-love over insecurity, and authenticity over societal pressure. As the night wore on, Maya reflected quietly on her journey. The bullying, the teasing, the doubts, they were no longer chains holding her back. They had been the forge in which her resilience and courage were shaped. She understood now that every challenge she had faced had prepared her for this moment, teaching her lessons she would carry for the rest of her life. She also thought about the power of inspiration and role models. Just a few weeks earlier, she had watched a young woman on a video, embracing her natural hair and inspiring Maya to do the same. That spark had grown into a flame of confidence and determination, leading her to a night she would never forget. Maya realized that inspiration could be found in unexpected places, and sometimes it only required one brave example to change the course of a life. The message Maya carried in her heart was clear. Self-love is the most powerful form of courage. It is not about being perfect, conforming, or pleasing others. It is about embracing who you truly are, flaws and all, and standing tall in that truth. Beauty, confidence, and strength are not given by the opinions of others. They are claimed by those who dare to be authentic. As she looked at her reflection in a nearby mirror, the crown perched atop her head, Maya felt a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for her journey, for the struggles that shaped her, for the friends and family who supported her, and most importantly, for the strength she had discovered within herself. Tonight, she was more than a prom queen. She was a symbol of courage, self-acceptance, and the power of embracing one's individuality. And as the music played on, Maya danced with joy, laughter, and pride. She knew this night would remain etched in her heart forever, not because of the title or the celebration, but because it marked the moment she fully embraced herself and let the world see her light. In that realization, Maya found peace, happiness, and a confidence that no one could ever take away. The music softened as the night wore on, leaving a warm hum in the gymnasium. Students slowly gathered in small groups, chatting, laughing, and taking photos that would serve as memories of a night unlike any other. Maya, still wearing her crown and radiant dress, felt a profound sense of calm settle over her. The excitement of the evening had given way to quiet reflection, and in that stillness, she appreciated how far she had come. She wandered to a corner of the gym where the lights reflected off the polished floor, and looked around at the faces of her classmates. Some were still in disbelief, their whispers fading into curiosity and admiration. Others approached her with genuine smiles, offering compliments that felt sincere and heartfelt. For Maya, it was the first time she could truly see herself, as others saw her, not as a target for ridicule, but as a young woman of strength, grace, and undeniable beauty. Her friends, as always, were her anchor. Zoe came up and nudged her gently. "You were amazing tonight," she said softly. "I've never seen you like this before." Maya smiled, feeling the warmth of friendship and support that had carried her through so many difficult days. She realized that no crown, no title, could replace the value of people who truly believed in her, who saw her for who she really was, and who stood by her side without judgment. As she walked across the gym one last time, Maya's eyes caught the reflection of herself in the floor-to-ceiling mirrors lining the walls. She studied her face, framed by curls that had once been the source of insecurity, now shining like a crown she had claimed for herself. Her smile was genuine, unforced, and free of hesitation. For the first time, Maya felt the completeness of self-acceptance, not just in how she looked, but in who she was inside. Prom night had been more than a celebration. It had been a declaration of authenticity. Maya realized that the journey she had undertaken, facing bullying, overcoming self-doubt, and finding inspiration, had led her to this exact moment. It wasn't just about being crowned prom queen. It was about claiming the confidence, resilience, and pride she had always carried inside, waiting for the world to recognize it. Her parents approached, their eyes glistening with pride. Her mother took her hands in hers and whispered, "You've grown so much, Maya. I'm proud of you, not just for tonight, but for everything you've become." Her father nodded, smiling warmly. "Remember this feeling. Remember that your strength comes from within, and no one can ever take it away." Maya hugged them tightly, letting herself absorb the love, pride, and support she had worked so hard to embrace in herself. Maya's gaze shifted to the other students, including those who had once mocked her. Some avoided her eyes, unsure of how to respond to the confident young woman she had become. Others, perhaps silently inspired, watched her with newfound respect. Maya did not need to confront them. Her actions, her presence, and her joy spoke louder than words ever could. By embracing herself fully, she had transformed not just her own life, but the way others perceived her. As the night drew to a close, Maya stepped outside into the cool evening air. The stars twinkled above, mirroring the glow she felt inside. She breathed deeply, savoring the feeling of freedom, self-love, and triumph. Tonight, she had danced, laughed, and celebrated. But more importantly, she had claimed her power and pride. She had faced fear, turned it into courage, and allowed herself to shine in a world that had once tried to dim her light. Maya smiled to herself, knowing this was only the beginning. Life would continue to present challenges, doubts, and obstacles, but she had discovered something unshakable: the strength to be herself, unapologetically and fully. With each step she took toward the future, she carried the lessons of her journey, the courage, resilience, and authenticity that would guide her through everything that lay ahead. And as she walked home, the cool night air brushing against her face, Maya knew deep in her heart that she had not only claimed a crown for the night, but had claimed her own identity, her own confidence, and her own joy forever.